Hi and welcome to the Small Business Podcast for Small Businesses. This is part two of the interview we did with David from Burton Co and Ben from Holmes Hills. I know they're accountants and solicitors, but it's really, really interesting. And one of those things you don't need to know till you need to know, but also you will know someone or there will be something in there that you think, oh, I didn't know that, or I could help. And both are really, really amazing businesses that are just on hand to help when needed and should not be feared or worried about contacting them, because if you need an accountant solicitor, you need an accountant or solicitor, and both are really great companies, local companies. They're keen to help. So if you've not listened to part one, go back and listen to part one where Liam spoke to both guys, and then listen to part two, and as always, let us know what you think. So I'm going to be very non-British now, and I'm going to talk about money because A, that fascinates me. And also we're very, very good. I've had a case in point. I was talking to another business owner this morning about someone saying about, I get a lot of business coaches approach me, especially on LinkedIn. And it's lovely that they think I have £2,000 spare a month, but I don't. But also on the flip side, it's I always find it interesting that coaches want to attract people like me, and they think I've got £2,000 spare a month. But at the same time, if I have got £2,000 spare a month, do I need a business coach? And with you guys, the industries you're in and the jobs you do, is very much people need you. They need you from understanding from a legal side, understanding from doing the right thing, and just it would be very dangerous to Google the answers of what both of you do. And similar, like talking about AI and stuff, it's very much a case of you can go down a bit of a rabbit hole, and I find it a lot, especially on the accountancy and bookkeeping and making tax digital side, where they'll come in and they go, oh, either Dave down the pub or Google's told me.
Dave down the pub's dying off, isn't he? Or Dave down the pub. I saw a LinkedIn post about that recently. Dave down the pub dying off. Yeah. And I was like, that's not me, by the way.
Yeah. There's Dave at the accountants or Dave down the pub.
And I think it's now it's sort of, we're getting more and more of a two, where it's like AI says this. Yeah. And the problem with that is we kind of need to treat it with a bit of caution, because whatever goes in kind of goes out. I haven't sworn deliberately, but there is another way to say it.
Yeah.
And we kind of, like, we use AI. We've used it for years, and it's brilliant. But it depends on how you use it, because it should be used as a tool to kind of improve what you're doing, not everything goes in there and then it tells you what to do, because that's dangerous. And I think that's where Cynic Code really wrong, where a decision has been made based on what this bit of AI stuff has popped out, and then there's gaps in it. Yeah. And it's really similar to what with Ben as well. Like the legal framework is incredibly complicated around all sorts of transactions, and to rely on AI 100%, it's only going to go one way, isn't it? Because you've only got to get a little bit wrong, or AI gets a bit confused, doesn't find the right source, or finds Dave down the pub as someone on a website. Yeah, it then completely wrong.
And then I'm guessing you must both see it on both sides, further costs down the line, because I get a lot of people coming to me, and it's more on the accountancy side, but I have had it on the legal side as well, where they're like, can you help me with this? Because I've been quoted X for, I've gone to a solicitor's or I've gone to an accountant's, or I tell me if I'm wrong, Ben, that I've had it a few times where people have come in and they've been charged extortionate fees by accountants because it's very old school charging. And I hope Dave won't mind me saying this, that it's actually I'll get people come in and say, well, what's the value of having an accountant? And I'll be like, right, these are the guys I recommend. Go to Burton Co. They're not the cheapest, but you get your value for money. So I very much push the value for money side of things. Don't think of it as like, oh, I'm paying X versus Y. And this is my background as a buyer as well, because I'm very much of the opinion you buy cheap by twice. But Do you find that same on the solicitor side of things?
100%. And actually, I've got quite a lot to say about this. I'm just warning you to, not take any sleeping pills or anything, because that will make it even harder just to do we. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, it starts with the business model of the firm, which I wouldn't expect a prospective client of the firm to know anything about. But you can get a feel for it when you phoned up and you've got a cost estimate or a quote. Even what they call it, a cost estimate or a quote, can be quite indicative.
Yeah.
If someone's saying quote, if they're giving it to you very quickly and there's not a lot of thought gone into it,
Yeah.
it depends on the transaction, but generally, as someone that does this for a living and has done so for the last 12 years, I would say, okay, I've got that, thank you. I need to go and think about it, shop around, go and look at other people. The way I do it personally is, if it's something that I've got all the information about, hello, I'm Joe Bloggs and I want to buy this piece of land. I want to sell this commercial premises. I want a lease. I want to register my land. I want to grant a charge, something of that nature. It's just generic stuff. I think, okay, I've done these transactions so many times before. I roughly know what the different stages are going to be. If it's going to be relatively straightforward, if it's going to be, there's nothing unusual or weird going on, then I'm probably going to spend that amount of time on that bit. I'm probably going to spend that amount of time on that bit, so on and so on and so on. And then I will apply my hourly rate. Most solicitors have an hourly rate. And whatever my hourly rate is, having added up all those different times that I've worked out for the different stages, I'll say, okay, on a reasonably best case scenario, my cost estimate, because that's what a proper lawyer would say in my opinion, a cost estimate will be from this figure to this figure, plus VAT and disbursements. These are likely to be the disbursements, and then there will be assumptions, and if we've met those assumptions, that cost estimate is not going to change.
What disbursements, sorry?
Disbursements are all the fees that I incur in the course of doing the job. So, for example, if you're buying, you might have to pay stamp duty land tax. That's a disbursement. You might also have to pay the land registry's fee to register your title at the land registry. That's another disbursement. But there's all different things, and I will usually set those out. I've never had a client, in all my 12 years of doing this, I've never had a client come to me and say, oh, you're expensive, or that wasn't worth it. Because, as we're saying in part one of this, it's about the journey. And although at the outset a client might think, oh, I don't know, maybe that's a bit pricey, once you've gone through the journey, come at the other end, and you've been through it with them, I think they realise, no, actually, that was worth it. That I can see that he's worked for his money, kind of thing.
I could have just gone on Google and done that in 10 minutes.
It's the value. The whole thing is about value. So whatever you're going to pay, you've got to get some value out of it. And that's no different to any business, I think. We've got a lot of construction clients. They're brilliant at this. Like the value that they kind of give at the end is X. Their fee is Y. So if you like it, fantastic. If not, not a problem. We can take stuff out and change it. It's really similar to us. Like we kind of go, if you want us to do a set of accounts for you, are you going to give us a carrier bag full of? If so, the fee's this. If you let us set you on a decent system, if you do stuff regularly, if you're on top of stuff, our fee is less. Because we have
Workflow is less.
So, and it's similar to what Ben was saying. We kind of know what we're getting into because we've done this quite a few times. We know that if a business is turnover 20 grand, the fee involved for doing a set account, for example, is going to be different to a company that's turnover 2 million. Because there's a huge variety of things that tend to go wrong, and there's more kind of things that happen. So there's different prices for it. So I think the whole comparing, one
apples to oranges.
It has to be the same, because that our industry is not actually regulated. Anyone could be an accountant. So if you're just comparing, someone down the road, it's not really the same. And that's absolutely fine, because sometimes, and I was going to say, but what Ben was saying as well, sometimes what we find is timing. Sometimes it's not the right time to use us. which is absolutely fine. And then, when you start to hit some of the problems that I've talked about, because we tend to talk about what's coming up, that might be the right time. And that's absolutely fine, because we know and we're confident about what we do and how we do it. And we've got a few clients that are quite happy about it.
Yeah.
They sort of say that they are. So I think we're getting it roughly right.
And I think that's the same as what Phil was saying about the customer journey, and the customers coming out the other side, not going, oh, okay, they're now like, well, you know what, that was worth it. You've taken stress away. I know legally I'm good. It's that. And that's what I always say to people, even self-assessments. I'm like, self-assessments could be that you can do it online, and more so, there's a couple of things that people have come to me about, and they're like, oh, I found that. I don't use Solicitor. I can do that online. So you can, but you read some of those questions and do tell me that you understand and you know what to say. And they'll get to the point where they'll be like, I don't understand that, or I can't do that. I'm like, but that's what you're paying for. You're paying for that person that's got that knowledge. They've done it several times. They're taking that stress and sleepless nights away to get the body cup go, what was that? If you've got that peace of mind, and I think that's A, your customer journey, and B, your value for money, because people will come out the other side of it and then they recommend you. Like you say, in your 12 years, you've never had that negative feedback. So actually, that's what everyone aims for, that marketing gold, the customer coming out the other side of going, do you know what? Here's Ben Summer. Ben can do that for you. Here's Dave Mummer. Dave can do that for you.
Honestly, in all the 12 years, no one's ever said, I'm not paying a bill, or they've never made a comment that suggests that they're not happy with it, because they know, they can see it. I've only ever had good feedback. I've only ever had return clients, and it's only ever been a win-win situation in the end, in my experience.
And I think it's just really important, and especially that, like you say, the minute you say to me land registry, I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I'm tapping out of this one. If I ever come across that'll be out. Right, here you go.
It's actually really fun to do with our registry. It is really good fun, because their online system is usually quite good. If you want something, usually you can immediately get hold of it. Usually, or sometimes they post it to you because it's too big to scan. But normally they just email it in immediately. Yes, I get a lot of people saying to me, actually, just talking about the land registry, a lot of people do phone up speculatively and they say, I just need to know if my title registered. And I know of people out there in practice who will say, oh, I can do that for you, but it's going to cost you X. That sort of thing, it's so simple to find out. Usually it's so simple to find out that I wouldn't charge for that. I would just say, what's your address? And I would go and find out if I can. It's very simple for a solicitor to find out. But it's very difficult for the public to find out.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things we can do to find out quite quickly.
And is that, excuse my ignorance, because I've never been in that situation, but is that it's easier to a solicitor to find out because you've got in my head, you've got like an MI5 system on stuff. Love that. Do you are actually part of the Secret Service, aren't you? That's what you're telling me.
Kind of, actually. Now you say it. I never thought about it like that. Yeah. When you log into the land registry, it's all very secure and government agency thing, and you think, oh yeah, this must be going towards what the Secret Service do. But I never said it out now, and I've only just thought that in my mind. And now you say it. It is very secure, and again, member of the public. A typical member of the public would not have access to this.
I think that that'd be quite dangerous, if I'm honest. So I think we'll keep it that way.
I don't know. There's only so much damage they could do before all the red lights at Asian numbers if they quite this stuff does it, and they just block you out, I think. But they have this particular feature called it's called their map search, and it is an OS map of the whole of England and Wales, and roughly overlaid on top of it are all the registrations, roughly. And so most of the time it's quite easy to work out, there's a title registered against this piece of land, or there isn't. It's not always conclusive though, which is why I just say usually it is. But most of the time you can just say, this is your title number. And that information is publicly available in a different way that is not so official, without going into the mechanics of it. But a member of the public can go onto the land registry website and download a copy of their title just by having the title number. But it won't be what we call an official copy. They will have an unofficial copy, which I won't bore you what the difference is, but bear in mind, just bear in mind that we can only, as lawyers, deal with the official copy. They can have an unofficial copy for their records. And with the title number, they can go and get that. I think it costs £7. It used to cost £3, and recently they jumped to £7 because they haven't put their prices up for about 20 years, and they all of a sudden decided they wanted to do that. Yeah, that's how it works. There are other things you can do in the land registry, lots of other things, but I won't bore you with that.
But is that would you say, is that your most common inquiry? Is to find that out, or?
It's up there. It's a pretty common one. And I think actually the point, now I think about it, the point that I would like to make about it is, we were talking before about the journey. For a client, they often, and I don't expect them to, they often don't know very much about the law and how things work. They are, as we say, lay people. They are non-lawyers.
Yeah.
But they will want to know specific things which are very, very important to them. But I know as a solicitor, in the grand scheme of things, they're not going to make a be-all and end-all difference to the whole transaction. But even so, it's very, very important that you are sensitive to those things, that you have complete empathy, because they are important to the client. And the client, I think they used to say the customer is always right. The client is always right. Unless they're not. But we'll talk about that another time.
I was saying someone the other day about, because you used to get those signs, didn't you, saying the customer is always right. And you're just like, it's my age-old thing of, you don't argue with stupid on Facebook, because they will leave you with experience. So just if you've got to leave that there and walk away, that's fine. So how does it work? So if I'm coming to you, because as a business, I think this is the common inquiries or questions I get, is a business will come to me. I've either existing client will do their bookkeeping, or I'll have some involvement with them, or I'm very good. My typical client is tradesman as well. So they're just like, oh, well, we'll ask her because she does something to do with accounts, so she'll know, because when you seem to deal with numbers, you know everything. And what's the process if, like you said before, David, about I've got a commercial premises, or like you said, Ben, about a lease. Who should people go to first? Because you'll have existing clients where you'll be running their accounts anyway and doing their limited company accounts. They might have extra money or want to buy property. Because I'm conscious of, I get a lot of people where they've done well in their business, their first instinct is, well, we invest in property. Property is the best investment. But as well, you'll have obviously existing clients. Some of your with help you out with leases or tenancy agreements or whatever it might be. What's the process? How do they, I've got this property, I want to buy a property on a commercial sense. Who am I talking to? How does that?
Like the ideal scenario is that they haven't bought it yet, because then we can tell them the right structure to set it up in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we've had it, and we've worked with Ben on a few where, and they bought it 20 years ago or whatever, and they bought it in the wrong structure.
Yeah.
And we've had to then retrospect, create it effectively.
Yeah.
Which costs a lot. Like stamp duty is quite a bit.
That's a move thing. That's a all we dealt with. Yeah.
I think with hindsight, it would have been amazing to be in that position when that conversation, that thought was happening. And that's what we tend to want to get to with most clients. We want them to be able to talk to us, and sometimes we're the ones going like, you've got a bit of cash in there, what are we doing with it? To try and preempt that question, rather than, I've just bought this property in this company that I trade from, and then I'm like, oh god, what happens if the trade goes under? It's a difficult economy at the moment. It's been like it for a while. If you have a commercial property dumped into a company that's got a trade in it, the risk is, if it all goes wrong in the commercial, all goes wrong with the trade, you could lose the commercial property.
Yeah.
So all of that hard work that you spent years and years putting in,
Yeah.
do you really want to risk that?
Yeah.
And probably a half an hour conversation before it happens could save an absolute fortune. Absolute. And I think it's generational as well.
Yeah.
The whole point of most of this is to pass down some generational wealth to the next generation of family.
Yeah.
If you set it up right, it can work that way. But the outset of it is there will be some fees related to it because there's some work to do to get it in the right place.
And just to dispel that myth, because I have a lot of people think the minute, and I say it's a myth, I've had issues with accountants' fees as well on this, but if I'm picking up the phone to either of you just to go, I'm buying a property, where do I start? When do fees and costs kick in with that? Because I do have a lot of people come in and I'm like, you need to speak to an accountant, a lawyer, and they're like, no, that's going to cost me £500. And I'm like, what? Okay. And as you say, I'll always say exactly as you say, it will save you money down the road rather than just jumping in 2 feet first.
There's that side of it, but I've just on the point before, not leases, but land, if you're buying and selling or moving around that, I would always say to the client, whether the buyer or the seller, have you had independent financial advice? No, right. Don't come to me yet. I can do whatever you like, backwards and front ways and slant ways, not a problem. But it's almost always guided by tax efficiency. So please go and get IFA advice, independent financial advice. Once we've got that, hopefully it's David. Once we've got that, then me and David will pick up the phone and say, right, this is what's going to happen. Oh, right, understand. We put it into motion. Sorry, I forgot what your question was, the last one.
So I like that.
So you're saying
Because I've thought of 10 others.
I think you were saying like kind of from the offset there's
Yeah, where's the costs? Where will it
I
start?
get that. Look, because I think historically it was always a tricky one to deal with because some accountants will go, oh, come have a meeting for free.
Yeah.
I think the problem with that is it creates this weird kind of scenario where you kind of, as the business,
For free.
well, we're not insured at that point.
Yeah.
So we can't give anything away.
Yeah.
So what's the point of the meeting at that point? Because we're not insured. There's an awful lot that we have to do, and it's really similar with that as well. There's a load of stuff we have to do before we give any advice.
Yeah.
AI doesn't have that, which is great, but it's also not insured, so it swings around that. But we have to go through all of that before we give anything, before we give our advice. So the problem with looking at about 500 quid, say in your example, might well be 500 quid. Who knows? It's hard to tell. But I know, and I can think of a couple of clients I've worked with over the years where 500 quid probably could have saved them £500,000.
Yeah.
So 500 quid from day one, 500,000, a few years down the road, well, I know which one I choose over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I think the fee at the start isn't the problem. It's not knowing what comes at the end is the problem.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, the cost of that can be 10, 20, 100 times more than whatever the initial.
Is protecting their money in the long run. Because I'm only going to come and speak to either of you about buying a commercial business or a piece of land or whatever it is. I'm not going to do that with zero in my bank account. So if it's going to cost me, and it goes back to that value for money thing of, if it's going to cost me £500, still plucking my number out the sky, but it can save me £500,000 down the road, then actually that's the setup and way of doing it.
I think if you kind of buying a commercial property, for example, that isn't something that happens every week. Yeah. So it tends to be, clients we have with, tends to be a kind of a lifetime thing, but an incredible thing to do because you spend ages getting a deposit, you spend ages getting things right in the right order, and you've got enough cash to do it. So there might be a cost for some advice, but it still feels every time, right?
Yeah.
That might be a good investment because you're probably going to get more back in the long run. That I've had a few clients that have done it, and now they're kind of renting that property out. Yeah. They've set it up right to start with. They've got proper leases in place, which I've had a few clients having to go through that.
Yeah.
And with that to start with done, you don't have to worry as much. And then that way, byproduct of that is you make more money out.
Yeah.
So if you invest a bit, it tends to make a bit more afterwards.
Yeah.
I completely agree. It's about the long term.
Yeah.
When you've got such a valuable asset. From my point of view, as the lawyer, I've got quite a few different, I call them prospective clients because they're not actually clients. Yeah, I haven't got a file open, but I have prospective clients, and I do talk to them for a prolonged period of time, sometimes 2 years, because I say to them, "You've got to do this, you've got to do that." I'm not giving them legal advice, but I'm saying, for example, I've got one at the moment. I will need to see your title deeds. Your land is unregistered. You can't do much without them. But to get them, that's a whole rigmarole because they're not in the country and all this sort of thing. And that can go on for a long time. And then once they've got them, I look at them. All right, okay, now you need to go and get your IFA advice. And just depending on what they say, depends on how we're going to do this. And then it turns out that actually once you review the deeds, actually it's not just this person, but these 3 other people in the land. So where are they and what are they doing? How can I get instructions from there? All these sorts of real world things weigh into it, and it goes on for a while. But once you've got there, you're there, and then you can then make the headway.
Yeah.
Some people do it the other way. They front load it. They say, you open a file, clock is ticking. I find my personal opinion is that that's unfair. The client doesn't know what they get themselves into, and I don't want to be unhelpful. I just want to be helpful. And I'm happy to give a bit if in the long term, as you say, it means you get really a better overall outcome in the end. But
I think we're like that now. We kind of look at it and we'll come back to your kind of point about initial meeting, for example. I think now or occasionally we will charge for it because it depends on what it is. So if it's quite a complex thing, it sort of makes sense for us to do that because then we can actually help you. If we didn't, you literally sit there, listen and go, can't really say.
Yeah. I can't tell you what to do.
Okay. So it sort of makes sense. And then that leads on to then different conversations. And the whole point of why someone comes to us is that either not getting any advice or the advice they've been given isn't that great.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a problem to be solved. And it's no different to like how industries kind of overlap a little bit, but it's no different to any industry. There's always a problem to be solved.
Yeah.
So if you want a problem solved, there tends to be a cost for it.
Yeah.
But the cost tends to outweigh the end gain. Like building a house, for example.
Yeah.
There's going to be a cost to that.
Yeah.
I've done an extension on my house before.
Yeah.
There's a cost to it, but there's an end goal to it. So it's the same thing with the transactional stuff that we tend to deal with. And it's all about protecting the people that are investing in this because we know it hasn't taken 5 minutes to get to this point. No. It's taken years of hard work to get to the point where you're even thinking about a big transaction like that. So I would hope people don't just stick it into AI and hope for the best because to unravel it, it's not fun. It's not a good place to be at all because it just means you're going to have a massive tax bill or a massive problem at the end.
But some people find out they don't even then own their property. I've had before. They're based on the nightmare stories.
When you are a business, you have to think what's good long term.
Yeah.
And
I think we've got such a spike for basic learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that everyone's like, they want everything now and they want to do everything now and they expect everything to work as fast as I look on Amazon, it tells me what I want to order and it's on my doorstep in 2 hours.
I think they call it horizon scanning. You've got to be a horizon scanner.
Yeah.
That's a great phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's two important points to note there. It's like what you said, Ben, is that it's the longer term relationship with the client and you're doing your best for the client. Both of you've got their best interests in what you're doing for them. And I think that's a kind of another myth of people think, oh, well, it's just transactional. You get paid to do it. But actually, both of your roles is you're there to protect the clients and do what's best for them. So the value for money might be saving them £500,000, or it might just making sure that their names and the legal bits and pieces are in the right place for them, that it's set out from the offset rather than, as you say, they've gone down because AI doesn't have your best interest at heart. There's no relationship there that they're doing. But also, as you say, with the prospective clients that you're working with for 2 years and giving advice, well, actually, I wouldn't expect anyone in any industry to give me advice or help me for free. And if they are, that would raise a big red flag for me.
I think it's more, it would work the other way around. If people are doing that, well, if they're in a business, how are they going to survive? Like, they're not going to be able to make any money.
No.
So, I mean, we have to be realistic. It costs to survive.
Yeah.
So every business needs to be doing something to create income. Yeah. And weirdly, a lot of the stuff we do with our clients is kind of talk to them about how the business is doing, how can make more of what it is that they're doing and how they can rearrange it. A lot of conversations about pricing because the kind of, it's really tricky to get it right because I don't think anyone really has nailed how to price things in any industry because it's always changing.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that doesn't work is the kind of going out, I do it for free because it doesn't ever work because the person that's doing it for free then has to give something that potentially they're insured from in our industries, or they're giving something away that kind of then longer term, or how are they going to make that back? How they make any money? And the person that's receiving it, or you must know that you're getting this advice or whatever it is from someone that hasn't done it properly, that probably just Googled it.
Yeah.
Probably stuck it into AI and got do this quick, get rid of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing to be doing.
No.
If you're kind of dealing with big numbers, potentially.
There's that old saying, isn't there? If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Exactly. I think we're both similar, I guess. Like, we've been around for a while, not going anywhere, and we don't tend to look at stuff as kind of quick transactional turnaround. We want to work with someone for the duration of their working life, probably with their kids as well afterwards. So if we're going to say there's a cost to something, well, we're not doing it just to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
We're really not, and not really interested in that.
No.
It's because we want to help, and the way we do that is to be upfront and open about it.
That's what I always say to my clients. My aim is to help them be successful and not fail. Yeah. Because if they get more successful, busier, they'll need me more. Because I'm separate out with whatever it's doing.
And you know, the I didn't come into the industry for this reason, but it's the reason I now stay in the industry, and that is when you've got something that's unusual, that's complex or high value or whatever it might be, a project, once you've done all those weeks and months of sweating and can't sleep at night because you want to, you want to make sure it's perfect and done properly. Once it's all done, that sense of, achievement, for the client as well. And there's some psychology in that.
Yeah.
Right?
It's that natural human behaviour as well. It's why people play games, isn't it? It's why people, you're doing that to achieve something. And exactly that sense of achievement of, it's resolved, it's done, we've got great result. Absolutely win for everyone, isn't it? So, yeah. Is there anything, before we finish, there's anything that you're like topical at the moment, that there's certain client questions you're getting, any other myths you quite like to dispel?
Probably what's happening in Iran and oil current and what's going to happen with that. Because I think I don't know if people have really felt it yet. No. It's coming. And I think it makes sense to maybe talk about that a little bit, because I think there's definitely stuff on the horizon that maybe has been a little bit swept under the carpet a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
And definitely on, what they were saying about the kind of Instagram stuff.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it's so quick, whenever you can't get enough information into that at all. It's just nonsense to try and sell something. And
yeah. Are you helping clients with that at the moment? With
it goes back to pricing, because the conversation I tend to have about kind of pricing is, well, inflation's running at it was 3% or whatever, and then talking about price increases and stuff for clients, they tend to go, I won't do it this year. The problem with that is then you compound it, because then if you haven't done it for a year, the next year, effectively, if I did 6%, that's 33.
Yeah.
And then that becomes harder. And then you go again, it's now 9%, 10%, and you can't do that then. So it erodes your margin. If it erodes your margin, who's going to end up paying for that? Well, the people that own the business.
Yeah.
That's what happens every time.
Yeah. How about yourself then? Is there anything topical or...
I was just thinking about the Iran war because I know clients had been speaking to me about it, but nothing particularly about it. I think a few people have said, no, let's just keep it to one side, the transaction, until that's all played out. But in terms of other topical things, in different areas of property law, there are different things going on. I mean, obviously, you've probably heard of the Building Safety Act for high rises. Not that I deal with that specifically, but that is a property thing. And more recently, in the residential world, they're capping ground rents and they're making it easy to extend your lease and all that sort of thing. Which I used to do back in the day, but I don't do that now. But other than that, I think... I can't think of anything. I'm sure I'll walk out of here and think, oh, yeah, I've got 10 different things.
Yeah, that's always the way. Is there anything at the moment that for both of you to kind of end on a positive as well? Not both if I'm negative, but we've mentioned war, so let's go with that. Is if you can help clients out with one thing at the moment, what would it be? Where you're like, it's a common question at the moment, a bit of a sales pitch of just like, look, come to me, I can help with X quite easily.
I think for us, it's always about what can they do with the numbers. And it's the same thing every time. It's about knowing what your numbers are. So if your numbers are a year out of date, you may as well just stick a finger at the wind and hope for the best.
I mean, at the moment, if it's a month out of date, is so the way it's moving.
I think that kind of talking about kind of the advice I would give on that is it's kind of about knowing what your numbers are and then stick it to making sure what the 3 key numbers are that your business has, which are turnover, gross profit margin, and cash.
Yeah.
If you know what them 3 are,
you're good.
You should be fine.
Yeah.
I think in the law, I think it's just the same old things. It's just when people, sometimes it's just thrust upon people, and other times they've thought about it for a long time, but there's something holding them back, whether it's the apprehension of, oh, I've got to speak to a scary lawyer, or I don't know what they're going to charge me, just pick up the phone, or whatever. You know, the point I would like to get across is we are also human beings. We're not going to charge you for picking up the phone. And if you've got something that's just niggling at you and you're just a bit, I don't know what to do, it's worth just having a call.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to have a chat with a client generally, a prospective client generally, and say, tell me all about it.
Yeah.
Because it might be actually, you can sort it out without even having a lawyer involved. And I can put it in the right direction, whether it's David or someone else.
Yeah. And to be really honest, and I'm not saying this just because you're sat there, I recommend, because I've heard your reputation precedes you anyway with Holmes Hills, that it's very much and exactly that. It's almost saying that Steve Burton Co, it's an open door policy that you've got a question exactly like you say. If it's niggling you and you're worried about it, just pick up the phone. And I'm repeatedly saying it to clients at the moment of like how important communication is. If you're waking up at 3 a.m, just pick up the phone and speak to someone. And that's where I will very much point everyone in the right directions to go, well, I can't help with that, but you need to speak to this person. But I'll follow it up as well. Have you spoken? Because people do. They're like, oh, yeah, but they're big, scary lawyers and accountants. You guys are on such a pedestal in a good and bad way at the same time, because it's exactly that. They're like frightened to, but if you just say it and you can say it, and I always, it's like the financial advisor I use, Ian, who's been on before, say exactly that. I say to people, he talks your language. He just say it how it is. You don't have to dress it up. He will understand what you're saying and he will explain it back to you as you need. And just ask questions as well. Just always ask the question.
I think I was talking to a potential client that we picked up recently where their existing accountant would only let them ask one question at a time. So just one. That was in for the week. Yeah. And I found it really odd because I was like, well, I would prefer to talk to you as members. I prefer to talk to you. Like, we don't charge for talking to people. It's ridiculous. We kind of want to talk to clients because we're on the same page. So, what you were saying, like, there's a problem, then it comes to you and, well, you could just WhatsApp it to us and I'll just pick it up the next day. Like, and that's how you head then, think about it. And you cross them on your site, no? We don't bar people from top of it.
It's a culture, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
I've had firms where it is very hierarchical, and that culture ripples through the organisation, and it is, shall we say, stiff.
Yeah.
It's formal.
Yeah.
But at Holmes Hills, I mean, we have 2 management partners at Holmes Hills, and unless they told you, obviously I know they aren't the managing partners, but as a sort of prospective client, speaking to them, you wouldn't think they have that particular seniority because they're so human. And that ripples through the whole organisation.
Yeah. And I think that customer service piece, like you're saying, that you get repeat clients, so you know your customer service at some point, because you like you say, you get a cost estimate, that's what you're going to do, and that's what you do. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. This is what we've said we'll do. Here's the price, and we've done it. I've had clients in recently, and they've got a terms and conditions of like, we're going to do a 9-month review of your accounts, and I'm like, you're sat here with me, you're 10 months in. What happened? I haven't spoken to them in 9 months. So when did you last speak to them? When they signed me up. Right, okay, can we go back in those terms and conditions then? Because they haven't kept up. So you've been paying them every single month. What have they done? Well, nothing. They haven't even got access to my software. Okay, right. Here's excuse me then, I've done a very, very small bit of contract law, but I'm very much like, this is what you've been offered. This is what you've paid. If that's not matching, we have a problem. Either side.
I agree.
Very simply.
Without doing anything else, if it's not matching up, then it's obviously not agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think it's lovely, and it's been lovely to speak to you both and have you and having that in effect same open door policy. To obviously, David and I have done this before. It's been lovely having you on as well, Ben, just to dispel those myths and explain and make you less scary, if nothing else.
I find it amazing because everyone in the office, it's not described me as scary. Maybe more like a big panda.
Yeah. If I come to the office and you're not in a panda costume, they'll be sorely disappointed.
I do like that.
Brilliant.
We went to golf with Ben at Darwin Range and I'm terrible at golf. I wish I was better at golf and terrible at it. So it's just quite range.
Yeah.
And then I found someone's worse than me at golf.
The skills are incredible, right? I'm not joking. It's just phenomenal. Can't wait to do it again.
You're sneaking up some practices now on your lunch hour. You'll ever found at the driving range.
Well, maybe I should be doing that.
I think the irony with all of it, what we're saying about the kind of the perception and all that kind of stuff, I think I understand it. I get it. Like, I feel lucky and privileged that our industry has repeat business.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, there's something that has to happen every single year, or for us, every 3 months, every month, whatever. And a lot of businesses don't have that. So I feel privileged to be in that position. I think that there's not many accountants that understand that privilege, and they take it for granted. They take it for granted by kind of assuming that people won't leave. They take it for granted by filing stuff super late because they just haven't got their shit together.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't ever want to be, I don't want our business to ever be like that, because it shouldn't, because we're privileged to be doing what we're doing, and we should be as open as we can with people, and I think we're pretty good at that. It doesn't mean we're as good as we can be. I think we can be better. So I'm quite looking forward to the future and what more we can do to kind of dispel that and allow people to kind of not have that preconceived idea that it's going to be a them and us thing, because it never is. No, and it's like you say, it's working together, and I think you're always going to evolve, because life evolves, the law evolves, HMRC's mental, so you never know what you're going to be up against. So actually, if you're always striving for 100%, that's fine. But some days we can't give 100%, and that's fine. But if you're just always striving and evolve, then it will work, and your customers and clients will feel that anyway.
And that's why you get that repeat business and people come back and you get referrals. And like I say, you guys can work together and problems are solved quicker. Everything happens is quicker and easier.
And we all walk away feeling better as well. And, there's so much negativity in the world. If we can add to a bit of, happiness to it, that would be great.
100%.
And I think I speak for both of us when I say we endeavour to do that.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it definitely works better. Like we've done it before, where we'll kind of always almost like a triangle where the client's got a problem, we understand it. We've kind of spoke to Ben, and then he spoke to us, we spoke to the client, and then we can then get all we're doing. Client can crack on with what they're doing, probably carrying on making money while we're kind of help fix this problem. There's probably been bugging them for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they know they have to think about the invoice. It's out of the way, it's out of the red.
So we're here to help.
And cure sleepless nights.
So I can have them instead.
Yeah, exactly. We just pass them on to you, that's fine. What's that net cost estimate? Sleepless nights. Oh, you take that on for me? Brilliant, that's fine.
We call that a hidden cost.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. It's been amazing having you guys on, and you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
And as always, anyone listening, how do they get in contact with each of you?
I think best place is probably like we're on Facebook, we're off of website. Google us. We've got quite a lot of Google reviews, so you can just check out what people say about us.
Yeah.
That's the best place, because I can kind of say like what we can do.
Yeah.
The best thing I think is
Communicate.
people that we help have said what we do. So stick it into AI, see what comes up.
Yeah.
If you just Google my name, Ben Jerome, solicitor, there's only one Ben Jerome solicitor. I have checked it on the SRA website. It will come up with Holmes Hills, bright yellow and black colours, a smiley picture of me, which I find so humiliating. But you won't forget it once you've seen it. It'll be ingrained in your mind, and my number will be there, and I will be happy to help.
Brilliant. So there is only one Ben Jerome. We need to check there's only one David Rudd, and then we're sorted.
Well, I think there's more than one. I'm pretty sure I'm friends with another David Rudd, because like he's a serious to me. Probably is.
Yeah, we all need to be friends. Anyone listening, if you've got any kind of legal accounts problems, anything, just pick up the phone and speak to Steve Burton Co or Holmes Hills, because the teams, both teams, I'm not just saying this because they're sat here, I don't get any kickbacks or affiliate links for this, but yeah, get in touch with them because they can definitely help. And both of them have an open door office policy as well, so you can just ask for help and go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully you'll come back again soon.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
You take care.